Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is over. UFC 324 is finally here. Rock Bottom Picks, you already know what it is. And let's get into this fucking card. We start with the early prelim opener of Adam Fuckett versus Ty Miller. So Adam Fuckett is a UFC veteran at this point. Just kidding. He's a journeyman. He came in on short notice and fought Michael Morales, took him all 3 rounds. Ended up getting finished in the third. Won by TKO against something Suju. Asian fella for sure. Got a nice little elbow finish, and then afterwards he lost to Mike Malott. So he's been there, done that. Ty Miller, though, if you take a look at his record, it looks really good, 6-0. Honestly, crazy that he's even getting a UFC opportunity this early into his career. But besides his Dana White's Contender Series fight, which was against Jimmy Drago, everybody else has a really bad record that he's beaten. Like this Brazilian dude, no contest to Ty Miller's his only fight. Arthur De Barros Vieira Rocha, and then before that he TKO'd or KO'd Ryan Charlebois, who's 3-3, got an even record, and Ty Miller was the last fight that was 2 at this point. Miguel Tavar was 0-2, nicknamed Mikey. I don't know if I could confidently pick Ty Miller with all this blatant can crushing that he's doing, so I'm going to go with Adam Fuckett. 3-round decision. We move on to the next fight, which is Ricky Turcios versus Cameron Smotherman. Now, Cameron Smotherman's had a rough go in the UFC. I think he's on a 3-fight skid right now. And then Turcios he's kind of making a name off of fighting some prospects, but he's never really winning these fights. He's got 2 UFC wins. He's got the one that was his Ultimate Fighter finale, and then he got the fucking Kevin Dad split decision. But then before that, he lost to Ayman Zahabi, which isn't that bad because Zahabi's pretty good. Raul Rosas is pretty good. Bernardo Sopaj is pretty good, Albanian prospect. I think the finishing potential was definitely on the side of Cameron Smotherman. He's a really good boxer, and I think he's athletic enough to stop the takedowns from Ricky Turcios. And to be blatantly honest, I think Ricky Turcios is one of these fighters that just doesn't take damage all that well. He's kind of crazy, which I could see that being a downfall. I could see him caught in something crazy, so I'm going to go with Cameron Smotherman. We move on, Josh Hokett versus Denzel Freeman. Now, Denzel Freeman just fought on the Arman Saryukian card, and he had this most, what was the guy? Boljo. Polish dude. They basically had a staring contest for 3 rounds. Nothing too crazy happened. He had a little PFL stint where he lost. But Josh Hokett is a nice little character coming from the Contender Series. He's been finishing people, talking some smack. And he's got a crazy short reach for heavyweight, 73 inches at 6'1". He's got the same reach as his height. That's crazy. Like 6'1" on Freeman, he's got damn near a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage. So maybe he could get caught. I mean, Freeman looks fucking huge. I mean, look at the arms, look at the upper body on this guy. I think Josh Hokett's just a better wrestler overall, and from what I've seen from Denzel Freeman, he just kind of hard spars in his fights. It doesn't really look like he goes for it all too much. So Josh Hokett in the third fight. We move on to the battle of the lightweight unks. We got Michael Johnson, Cookout King, versus Alexander Hernandez, who's on a comeback recently after getting fraud checked early in his career against Donald Cowboy Cerrone. I remember watching that fight. I picked Hernandez to win. Hernandez on a 4-fight win streak, which is crazy because not too long ago he was losing to Damon Jackson, Billy Quarantillo. That's a bad loss. Moicano's not too bad. He KOs Chase Hooper, and then the Diego Ferreira fight is kind of crazy because Ferreira just beat Rebetsky, who had a lot of hype. But Michael Johnson is... The thing with Michael Johnson is he still has a lot of speed and power, and he's a super good technical boxer. It's just he's so old that he gets caught in these fights. Like, he does good until he's not, basically. Like, the Ferreira fight, using MMA math, I would be picking Michael Johnson. But Michael Johnson got flatlined out cold by a big overhand by Ferreira. Damn! Michael Johnson's doing pretty good, too. If you take out the Ferreira loss, he should be on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. So these guys are really flipping their careers around. This is a great fight. I think the Michael Johnson probably wins this just because Alexander Hernandez is finishing Chase Hooper, which, yeah, he has his moments on the feet, but he still looks very much like a victim, standing up. Like, I hate to say it, but his striking is not all there. And Michael Johnson is hanging in there with some elite dudes on the feet, and he's looking good. He doesn't look like he's getting blown away. KO'd Azaitar, and then Daniel Zellhuber is a pretty good finisher himself in the lightweight division, and he just fucking upset him. So I'm gonna go with Michael Johnson, and I'm not sure if I think he's gonna finish Hernandez, but he's definitely gonna take this 29-28 decision. We move on to the next fight, which is Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Now people forget, man, Charles Johnson has the last victory over the current flyweight champion, Joshua Van. Let's pull up his record now. He just KO'd Loney Kavanaugh, Boner Kavanaugh, who was a prospect. Caught him in the second round after a tough first, but he had a nice little turnaround. Before that, he lost to Ramzan Temirov, who is a cousin of some sorts. Before that, Sumar Dwadji, and then he beat Joshua Van, third round KO. That was so sudden. He just went out there, three-piece combo, uppercut, left hook, sat down Van out. And Perez was fighting... He just fought not too long ago. I think it was on the Hooker versus Saryukian card. Yeah, it was. And he just lost by sub to Almabayev, which was a good fight. And then before that, he had his knee completely blown out against Tatsuro Taira. I really want to pick Charles Johnson, but the problem is he always gets to these ranking fights where he's finally at the spot where he could break into the top 10, and he always loses. So is this the time, is this the dagger where Charles Johnson breaks in? I think it might be. I think Perez is on his way out. 33 for... The thing about Perez is he's been in the game for so long. I don't know. This is a tricky fight. I think that Johnson could outdog Perez in a scrap where there's a lot of grappling and striking mixed in, because I think Perez kind of fades as the fight goes on, for sure. Against Nicolau, he was doing okay, and then he just kind of caught him against the fence. It was so sudden. That was Perez's last big win, so for sure going to go Charles Johnson here. This is a really tricky fight. I could see it going either way for sure. We move on to the next one, which is Nikita Krylov. Should be a Ukrainian flag, but with the whole Russian-Ukraine conflict, they had to switch it. But versus Modestas Bukauskas. Now, Modestas Bukauskas is a Tom Aspinall dude fighting out of Gentes Combat. He trains with Mick Parkin and all of them. And he had an initial UFC stint that didn't go all too well. We all seen that oblique kick finish by Khalil Roundtree. But since then, he went to Cage Warriors, went on a crazy win streak, got his belt back, then beat Tyson Pedro, who was a city kickboxing dude. Lost to Vitor Petrito, which is not a great look. He was kind of piecing him up before that, though. So if you take out that loss, he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fight win streak. So he's getting up there. He's fighting Krylov, who's on a bit of a little streak himself. He just lost to Reyes, I'm pretty sure. Let's check out Krylov's record here. 30-11. 41 professional fights. That's got to account to something. Not being able to, 2 knockouts in a row, both in the first round against Guskov. I don't even necessarily I remember that one just very vaguely. I remember the Reyes one was way more I didn't expect Krylov to lose to Reyes because Krylov has these weird moments where he's insanely dynamic on the feet, throwing spin shit at 205 pounds, but then he just gets caught going in. He's so vulnerable going in. He's kind of like Yuri, but without the head movement or defense. I think they both have a chin problem, so I definitely think this fight is a guaranteed finish, and I think that Modestas Bukauskas is the better kickboxer, better striker overall on the feet, and I think he's going to get it done. He's on a bit of a tear, and I think he wins this, and I think he gets a ranked opponent next, and we move on. Next fight is Ateba Gutierrez versus Andre Poliev. Now, they really want Gutierrez to win. This is a huge prospect coming out of Africa. He's on a crazy win streak right now, all KOs. We pulling up Andre Puliev's record. He's had 2 fights in the UFC so far. One against Nick Klein, and then the other against Christian Leroy Duncan. Now, let's be real. The CLD fight, you can't really hold that against him because Christian Leroy Duncan is really fucking good. And he got that in his first fight after winning a Contender Series match by decision, so I don't really hold that against him. The Nick Klein fight. Nick Klein had a lot of success, and I was pretty high on Nick Klein because he had a crazy finish on the Contender Series, but looking into Nick Klein's fight history, he has this habit where he kind of has just moments, and then after his big moment, he fades after the fight, his fight against Durjan Dokaj. You go and watch that, it's a 3rd round finish, kind of similar to his other fights where he has a big explosive athletic moment and like drops the opponent, but then just completely blows his wad. Okay, that's enough about Puliev. Gaethje is fucking scary. This dude is 6'4", huge for 185. These guys are both really big, but like I said, 81-inch reach, 6'4", sorry, and this dude just throws with everything. Maybe we'll see his grappling tested. Every single fight he's had in the UFC, he's just completely gone out there and just decimated his opponent. Yeah, round 1 KO, round 1 KO, round 1 KO. So I definitely think this is a free win for Teba Gauthier. I definitely think there's going to be some more resistance than like the Medina's fight or the last guy that they had in that was on short notice, but I definitely see Gauthier getting a crazy finish. This is kind of a layup. Maybe? Who knows? I could eat my words here completely, but I definitely think Gauthier takes this victory. So we move on to the next fight, which is the headliner of the prelims, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davidson Figueiredo. Now, I am somewhat of a Figueiredo hater, especially back in his flyweight days. I would do my best to kind of discredit his legacy, but you can't deny it. He took Pantoja, 3-round decision, beat him. 2 wins against Benavidez, legend at flyweight. The crazy back and forth fights with Moreno, who's still doing his thing, even though he just lost to Tara. And then he moves up and he has a 3-fight win streak. He's on a little streak right now of losing to Sandhagen and to Peter Yan, but he just got a nice little cheeky split decision from Montel Jackson, who's a nice little up-and-coming prospect. The problem is, I think this is the same Davidson Figueiredo that we saw in the Cody Garbrandt fight, and then I think this is a more evolved, better Umar that has more experience after the 5-round championship fight with Merab, who isn't the champion anymore. But he made Bautista, he overworked Bautista, who has great cardio, almost made Merab look human on his crazy streak. Close fight. I don't think Figueiredo's wrestling is on par with Umar's, nearly good enough to stop takedowns or to not get taken down. And then I think Figgy's just going to roll around on the ground and try to find submissions instead of having urgency to get back up to his feet, because we've seen that from Figueiredo where he'll just stay on the ground and try to find submissions. Like the Sandhagen fight, he just kind of rolled for legs whenever they hit the canvas. So I don't have much hope for Figgy here. I'm definitely turning the script around. I don't mind him as much as I used to. Just back in the day, he would talk so much crazy shit and then just completely brutalize people, so it was hard to root for him sometimes because I was a fan of Benavidez. But yeah, I think Umar wins this for sure. I think he finishes Figgy, honestly. I think Figgy kind of has a quit moment here against Umar in the 3rd or 2nd, where he's just getting ground and pounded and gives up his back and gets choked out. And now finally we move on to the first pay-per-view, or whatever the fuck it is now, after the Paramount deal. The first main card bout of 2026. We got Arnold Almighty Allen versus Gene Lord Silva. Banger fight. 2 of the best strikers at 145 in my opinion. Arnold Allen is a sleeper pick. Went 5 rounds with Holloway. Took 2 off of him, which is crazy because Holloway was so good at featherweight, only losing to Volk and Topuria. And he should have beat Evloev. He had those knees to the grounded opponent that were actually legal, that he kind of got robbed by Mark Goddard there. If you look at, I just really think Arnold Allen should be on a 2-fight win streak right now, looking for a #1 contenders fight, but he's going to need 2 big wins for sure to even get back to that. But Gene Silva is getting a favorable matchup after getting spinning elbowed by Diego Lopez, which I don't quite understand, but it is what it is. Now, Gene Silva, this dude is really fucking slick on the feet. He finds stuff, man. It's crazy. He like has weird tempo where he's on and then he's off and then he's touching gloves and then he's throwing a spinning elbow. It's just, there's no like reads that you could really put onto Gene Silva until he kind of lost his temper a little bit in the Lopez fight. It looked like he was getting to Lopez a lot, and I think he was sensing the finish. And when the finish is there, I think you could obviously not easily, but I think that the striking opens up for Arnold Allen when Gene Silva goes on the offense, which could lead to a very close fight where we see Arnold Allen on the back foot a lot, and where Gene could win that just off of aggression and the way it looks. But I believe in Arnold Allen here, man. He's a great grappler too. People forget, man. He's on a streak. He's never really lost besides to Evloev and Holloway at featherweight. In his whole UFC career, he's got a crazy record, 20-3, top 5 featherweight. I just don't think Silva can bounce back that quick after getting spinning elbowed by Lopez. So I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. I think this is a 3-round banger decision. I think this is going to be fight of the night for sure. This could even be fight of the year, honestly. This is 2 scrappers for sure. Arnold Allen always has crazy fights. So even that Evloev fight, people said that it was boring because it had a lot of grappling, but I didn't really mind it all too much. So I'm going to go with Arnold Allen here. We move on to the second fight. I have to look up. Natalia Silva, that's what it is, versus Rose Namajunas. I'm going to go with Natalia Silva. I don't think Rose has got it in her anymore to compete at a championship level, and Natalia Silva is looking really good on the feet, finishing girls, and I'm just going to go with her based off of that. We move on. Oh my gosh. Okay, real ones know. This is a crazy, crazy fight. This is either going to be 1 round of just crazy blob fest fucking striking honka, honka, honka. Or it could be 3 rounds of Derek Lewis throwing a jump spin kick every once in a while and nothing happening all too much. Because you never know with Waldo. He could go out there some nights and just have a crazy first round finish where the guy bounces his head off the canvas crazy style. Or his next fight, he'll go out there and he'll just lay on top of the other dude for all 3 rounds. Which brings me to my point. I think Waldo Cortez Acosta, spoiling it already, I think he wins against Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis isn't really a top 5 to top 10 heavyweight anymore. I definitely think Waldo Cortez is. And I think Waldo Cortez will go to the grappling if the stand-up isn't working, when I think Lewis won't. And I do think he's a bit better offensively than Derek Lewis is to stop the takedowns in general. I mean, dude laid down on his back for 25 minutes against... sometimes the corpse guard that Lewis pulls just doesn't work. You know what I mean? So I don't think... And the thing is, I've seen Waldo take huge shots from big heavyweights, and he's got a chin on him. Shamil the Blob Gaziev was hitting him with some big shots before that. The thing is, Waldo Cortez almost lost to Jared Vandeera, and he was getting picked apart. I don't know. I think Derek Lewis' biggest weakness for Waldo Cortez Acosta is he does not fucking block leg kicks at all. He doesn't check. He doesn't do anything. He just sits there, and he'll take it and he'll scream at you. Or it doesn't seem to affect him all too much, but every single fight where it's been close with Waldo, he's had his leg just busted apart the whole time. Like that Chase Sherman fight and the Bandera fight, which were both not great looks for Waldo. He was getting like, let me pull up the stats actually, against Jared Vandeera. This was, damn. It's kind of crazy how long Waldo has been in the UFC. I feel like he's back in 2022, so 4 years ago on the Cater versus Allen cards. Arnold Allen reference. Jared Vandeera landed 39 leg kicks on Waldo Cortez Acosta. That's where I could see Derek Lewis. If Derek Lewis has any brain, he's game planning the leg kicks. That's all I'm saying. But I'm still going to pick Waldo Cortez Acosta. We move on to the co-main event, which is, I don't know where Sean O'Malley's got I don't know why he's got his shirt on in this fighter picture, but anyways, we move on to the co-main, which is Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. And I'm picking Sean O'Malley. And here's why. Song Yadong is crazy powerful, and I think his skill gets overestimated just a little bit because the way he lands on people kind of affects the way they strike. And I don't think he's going to land consistently on Sean O'Malley. I mean, dude, Sean is probably the best striker at 135. Went 3 hard rounds with Piotr Jan, and we saw how the fight between Song and Piotr went. Piotr did have to grapple a lot more than he did with Sean, but Song Yadong, that cut against Corey Sandhagen was pretty brutal, but he did hurt Sandhagen a couple times. The way that Peyton Talbot looked against Cejudo was way better than Song Yadong looked. And Cejudo's old too. I don't know. I don't know about this one. This is such a good fight. Honestly, this is one of the most hype fights that I'm excited for on this whole card. I think the main event, obviously, and then the Arnold Allen fight's pretty good. Plus this makes the whole card worth it to watch. I don't think Sean finishes him, but I definitely think Yadong maybe gets like a round 2 big moment where Sean has to battle through some adversity. And there's a new champ. You know, there's more motivation there for Sean O'Malley. This is his last go at a title probably, so I don't know. I really hope Sean O'Malley wins. I'm a big Sean O'Malley fan, so I'm praying. Move on to the main event, which is Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Now, okay, hear me out with this one. The whole build-up, this whole 6-week break, I was picking Paddy Pimblett just because I thought the grappling difference was just too much. But, dude, Justin Gaethje has some crazy takedown defense. He's a D1 wrestler, and if you look at Paddy Pimblett's offensive takedowns, he got one against Chandler. I don't know why Chandler was shooting takedowns against Paddy Pimblett. He has autism. He's like confirmed has autism there. Against not Jordan Levitt, but the Mexican guy. What's his name? Kazula Vargas. Vargas shot a takedown and got it on Paddy. Jordan Levitt got a takedown and got it on Paddy. Paddy couldn't take down Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon is not that good. Just lost to who did Jared Gordon just lose to? He just lost to Rafa Garcia, who's kind of a bottom feeder at lightweight. Michael Chandler couldn't take down Gaethje, and if Chandler can't take down Gaethje, I don't think Pimblett can even get close. How Pimblett gets his takedown against Gaethje here is he lands big, gets Gaethje against the fence, and he kind of clinch grapples from there. Just off of in the open, like single legs, double legs. Justin Gaethje is just too defensively sound and minded. I guess there is that the Rafael Fiziev fight is kind of worrying for that. But Fiziev is a crazy athletic grappler and a striker, not grappler. Fiziev is a crazy athletic striker. And in the first fight against Justin Gaethje, Fiziev didn't shoot any takedowns, and it was kind of a surprise to everybody when he went out and blast double-legged Gaethje. I just don't see the world where Gaethje gets pieced up by Paddy Pimblett on the feet. Pimblett reaches, he overextends, he commits good with his shots, but like he drops his hands so far. He was getting pieced up by fucking Luigi Vandermeini, whatever that guy's name is. He was getting pieced up by Jared Gordon, who, like I said, is not that good. Justin Gaethje is going 5 rounds with Max Holloway, who's one of the best strikers ever at 145. He's also knocking down Fiziev 2 times, who is a Muay Thai champion. Then he is also KOing Dustin Poirier with a head kick. Yeah, there's no way Gaethje isn't losing. Gaethje's not losing. I'm telling you. Bet the whole house. Bet everything. Justin the highlight Gaethje. America, USA. And that's it for UFC 322. The fight of the night, I think, is going to be Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. Or I definitely think that's going to be the fight of the night. But I could see finishes in the Krylov-Bukowskis and Michael Johnson versus Hernandez could end in a finish just because they're both super chinny, both vets. Man, I'm really curious to see how this card plays out, and I'm also curious to see how the Paramount system works. Like, is it going to be a lot similar to the way that ESPN ran the events? And like I said, that starts an hour early. So